Hey, I'm Mark Romanek, and I hope you're in the mood for a test ride. We're going to take this Starweld. It's a 20 DC Pro. We're going to put it through its paces. The Starweld Fusion 20 Pro is 19 foot 5 inches down the center line. It's got a 92-inch beam, maximum horsepower, 175 ponies. The Starweld 20 Pro Fusion is a boat made for fishing, and when you go to the back of the boat and you look at the transom, you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. Great fishing features here. For example, the transom is all cut out. And the reason for that is it allows you to get back to the back of the boat, so it makes it easier to set lines. Beautiful for things like rigging up downriggers or maybe planer board fishing. Also, what's going to jump out at you, look at the splash well. It's huge, it's deep, and the beauty of that is it keeps the water on the outside of the boat where it belongs. A big water boat should have a nice deep splash well, and this one of course has that as well. There's some other nice features. For example, some rod holders come standard with the boat. There's a storage compartment right here in the center that's going to be ideal for putting things like planer boards. And then underneath there's a bigger storage compartment, and that's going to be nice for storing your tackle bags and that type of stuff. The transom's plenty wide that if you want to add a kicker motor to this boat, you can do that as well. And any good trolling boat, of course, is going to need a kicker motor. On top of all that, it's got jump seats. And the jump seats are cool because if you need them for passengers, you can put the jump seats in and you got great seating. But if you need extra room for fishing, you can pop the jump seats out. So all in all, the Fusion 20 back here has got some great fishing features. Let's talk about rod storage. A fishing boat's got to have a lot of rod storage, and the Fusion Pro 20 has got just that. On each side, there's integrated 6 different tubes for rods, and they're big enough that you can put big, long trolling rods, which is what a big water guy is going to be having. Also in the floor, there's ample space for additional rods. So if you're that kind of guy that likes to take every fishing pole you own with you, the Fusion Pro is going to be a great boat for you. Jumped up to the passenger console, and of course this is a DC model, which stands for double console, so you're going to see nice tall windshields. That's a beautiful thing because it's going to keep the elements off you. There's no question I like a tall windshield, tall enough that when you're running you don't have to worry about your cap blowing off. Also a big, and I mean big, glove box here. And the beauty of a big glove box, you'd be surprised how much stuff you end up sticking in there. I store tackle in mine, I store my cell phone in there, a tablet, you name it, it goes inside the glove box. Underneath there's a shelf here, and that shelf is very important because it allows you to put tackle in there, get it up off the floor so it's not under your feet. And on top of all that, there's another very cool feature. Let me slide this out here and show you. Look at this. One of these neat new Engel bait coolers. Now you can use this for storing your bait if you want, or if you're not fishing bait in any given day, you can open this up and just throw some ice and some cold drinks in there and keep your sodas nice and cold. This is a cool little feature. The Starweld 20 Pro DC has got a really nice fishing console, and the first thing that's going to jump out at you, look at this seat. This captain seat is big and plush. It's very, very comfortable. But when I look at the console itself, lots of nice features. Tilt steering wheel, you got to have that. Tilt steering wheel is so important. If you're a big guy, you can't get it in and out of the console without it. Toggle switches I really like because they're positive. When you hit one, they stay on, and there's light on them to indicate that there's, that something's going on there, so you don't forget and leave a bilge pump running if you don't need it. There's also another feature that's in this boat that you might find very, very useful. It has a wash down pump. So when you're fishing and you get fish all over the floor and guts and stuff all over the floor, you can wash it down with a wash down pump, and of course that control switch is up here as well. When we look at other things, flush mount graph, don't get any better than that. Nice and clean, got all the electronics you need, but very, very intelligently mounted. Across the top here, we got some other things. We got our radio up here. Of course, we got our tack over here and speedometer, which you're going to need as well. Drink cup holder, everybody needs a drink cup holder. An AC switch for plugging in and charging your cell phone, and then there's also other switches. For example, you can use a USB port for charging maybe your tablet if you want, and of course there's another port for plugging in your tunes if you want to listen to your own custom tunes as well. So underneath is a big shelf, so you got space for tackle storage, and underneath that is plenty of room for your feet or possibly another tackle bag. The Fusion 20 Pro DC has got an elevated casting deck up here, lots of room for casting if that's your style of fishing. But there's some other nice features that we have to talk about. For example, it comes standard with an electric motor, and the electric motor is mounted on a quick disconnect switch. So if you need it, you can put it in. If you don't need it, you can take it out as well. Giant live well up here, which is a nice feature. It's going to be big enough for all of your catch, no matter what species you happen to target. And then of course there's additional dry storage underneath my feet, plenty of room for tackle. And up here, there's also dry storage. It's just a small area, but it's very nicely set up for storing your little electric motor controller. And that doesn't seem like much, but boy, I tell you what, having that off the floor is a nice thing. So all in all, there's some great features built into the DC Pro up here on the casting deck. The Starweld DC Pro Fusion is a great big water fishing boat. If you'd like to learn more about this particular product, I recommend going online and looking at starcraftstarweld.com. Check it out. I think you'll find lots more features. Or better yet, find a dealer that has one in stock. Take one of these out in the water yourself for a test ride. I think you'll be impressed.